Hey, we're back. And today we're going to talk about something fun 15 most popular homes. So, before we get started, make sure you dingle on the bell, hit that subscribe button, and of course, leave us a comment below. There's 15 homes to comment on. So, you got to have a choice of one of those for sure. All right, let's see. Let's get started here with the share.
Mentioned that this came from an article that came across in Pro Builder, Professional
Yes.
Builder magazine. Right. So, you figure in, weather in different locations and, so the home styles will generally change. I mean, I'm down in Florida, so our style is slightly different than what you'd have in the Midwest or in the Northeast.
Uh-huh.
Um, but regardless of where you're from, I think a lot of people have a personal preference, what style trips their trigger.
Right.
So, and starting with this first one here, this is modern, the modern style. So they typically include progressive elements such as, the asymmetrical finishes. So you notice the windows and the doors, everything's equal lines, right?
Right.
So, and then lower roof pitches, finer lines. So just a nice simple, and we don't typically call it modern, like something like that we might even call transitional. And we were talking before we started recording, the one behind you I would consider modern, but maybe mountain modern, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
That seems like something you'd see in Colorado,
yeah, Northern California,
Right.
somewhere overlooking a coast or a lake, and
Correct.
somebody with a very thick wallet.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
probably the next one is probably our most common, the ranch style home.
Yes.
I mean, he's grew in popularity through the 50s and 60s. And, basically, why is a ranch so popular? A, it's one level. B, it's quick and easy to build, right? It's fairly inexpensive. So, particularly after World War II,
Yeah.
GI housing,
Right.
all small ranches. This
Yep.
one's even better because it's got a gable end. Most of the time they were just straight rectangles.
Yes. Correct. Next up is number 3.
Number three, the craftsman style home. Now, I've always liked craftsman style homes. That it's a lot of work to build them. I like all the detail. They call it gingerbread. So you've got corbels underneath the soffits, or you could call them lookouts. There's usually some bracketry, but again, you also have the siding, all that shake siding, and then the railings are all done with a nice wood pattern. So it's
Right.
pretty cool. So staple of American architecture, adds a lot of charm to everything. So a very cool house.
Yes. Uh, Very popular, I think, in San Francisco, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I think in some major cities, you'll find areas that actually have a subdivision done like that. I mean, we don't talk so much about the interiors because really you can do what you want inside your home, right?
Right.
But a craftsman usually has a lot more raised, millwork. That if it has stairs, they're going to have a really crazy design or a really nice design for railings. More like built-in bookcases, dining, sideboards, things like that are usually built into them a lot more than you would in any other home.
Right. Right. Number 4. Oh, that's interesting.
So you got to love these mid-century modern. And you know what always comes to mind at our age? The
Yeah.
Brady Bunch house. That was mid-century modern. It was, that show was filmed in the 60s, and
Yeah.
it's exactly what it was. Mike Brady was an architect and supposedly, in the show designed that house, but a true example of mid-century modern. It was just newer materials, different shapes. So some very cool stuff.
Well, then if you look at the roof pitches, there's some shallow stuff, but then there's also the steep, and they kind of mix that all together.
Right?
And that that's the mid-century modern style. It's a ranch house with a
Yeah.
that
And they
has some fun.
typically had floor to ceiling windows or, much taller, much larger windows. So this one's a little tough to tell because, well, they have a nice fence in front of the yard.
Yep. But that's looks like it's a split level also.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Number 5.
everybody knows this one, right?
Yeah. That's what
The
my
Cape
house looked
Cod.
like. That's what I started with. It was 900 square feet, 2 bedroom, a little family room, kitchen behind it. That's it. You're done.
You're done. And even the windows in the attic were just light in the attic.
Yes.
There
Yeah,
was
there's
no living space.
nope.
No, but it's funny, the Cape Cod, I mean, that design's been around since, the early, like late 1600s, as the people started coming to this country. That was what was built, whether it was out of brick, clay, wood, logs, didn't matter. It was Cape Cod.
Yes, that's exactly it. So very popular in the East Coast and
Mhm.
all up and down the East Coast. And then no overhangs, nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all really tight. Next
Yeah,
up,
no insulation, no
uh,
overhang, no.
no, very simple.
Yes, yes.
Number 6.
Number 6, the cottage style. So the cottage style, quite simply, it's basically just steep roofs, thatched roofs, a lot of times, arched doorways. A lot of times it's kind of whimsical, right?
Yeah.
So I know of a couple areas where I've seen them where they've actually got like eyebrow roofs over palladium windows, and then it has that fake thatch, or they remember the old T-lock shingles.
Yes.
So that would give you that sort of thatch appearance because of the shape of them. Very cool if you could do it right.
Yes. Agreed. Okay. Number 7,
The two door,
the 3
as
door.
opposed to no, it's not a four door, it's a two door. So the Tudor just obviously as an architectural style came out from England during the era of the two doors. Get it?
Yes.
Anyway, the biggest thing with those, mostly brick or stone first floor, second floor, exposed wood beams with stucco, horsehair stucco between them. That's how they were originally built.
Right.
This is obviously probably just stucco with one by cedar attached to make it look like a two, but it's that style and it's cool.
Yes. And
The
it
chimney.
and this could be very small bungalow-ish style like this, and then they can get to be very large and elaborate. It's a
Oh
design
yeah.
that you can expand and contract to fit pretty much any home dimension you want to use it on.
Yep.
I love these.
Speaking of large,
Yeah. Yes. What this is number 8.
yes, the Victorian. So
Yes.
the Victorians, or we like to call them painted ladies,
Hmm.
because they were always done with the amount of bracketry and again, gingerbread and all the detail work and then the multiple colors and almost always have that spire.
Yes.
Just absolutely beautiful. A lot of ornate staircases inside of those homes.
Yes. Beautiful homes. A lot of the carpenters just spent years on these things.
Yes.
And all this stuff is all handmade, you know. It,
Yeah,
it
back in the day, yeah, you didn't run down to a box store and go pick up a whole bunch of, dental moldings for the turret there.
right. You're a guy standing out in the yard cutting up and making all these pieces, you
You
know,
know,
and turning all this stuff, the wood lathe, in the shops.
well, and look at the siding, it's all dog-eared.
Yeah.
Dog-eared shakes. So, I mean, those are all, you basically start with a shake shingle and you got to make them all round and somebody's got to stand there and cut them all.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's one of those things I'd love to own one of those, but then I would,
No.
the maintenance, the upkeep,
Yeah. It,
forget about it.
I enjoy working on them and having to replicate some of the details to keep the stuff up. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So, but I don't have to live there.
no.
All right. Number 9.
Mediterranean.
Yeah, that's pretty sleek looking.
Yeah, and Southern California, Arizona, flat roofs, dry climates, don't need a lot of excess insulation.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, yeah, you're thinking of the Mediterranean, Spain and that kind of stuff.
right. And I mean, that's basically where that style comes from. But again, you'll find it all over the Southwest
Yes.
in the United States. I mean, that house in Maine would look a little odd.
Yeah, or Chicago.
Yeah.
All right. Number 10.
Now that's contemporary,
Yes.
which contemporary and modern always sort of confuse me. But this article actually even said you could say interchangeably describing modern or contemporary. So as we were talking before the show, we actually, like the house behind me and this one, we would call them more transitional.
Okay.
Because to me, modern is more what's behind you, where you have large panes of glass. So that would be like more contemporary, but the more modern or the more transitional would be kind of like regular windows, but straight lines and no frills. You notice there's not a lot of bracketry. You know what I mean? There's nothing on the outside of this house, just a wrap around the roof.
Right. Right. And could the transitional thing be because it's got a pitched roof where most of these, the modern or contemporary have flatter roofs?
I think that's part of it. I think that's when they say transitional, they just mean you're somewhere in between,
Right.
right?
Right.
You know,
Okay.
so then number 11, the colonial.
Colonial style.
Colonial style is pretty cool. That's probably what most homes everywhere in this country, when somebody thought about getting a big house, it was always a colonial for the most part for two reasons. One, it's easy to build, and two, because it's stacked.
Right.
Usually your bathrooms are over the bathrooms and so on, you know what I mean? So it's an inexpensive home to build with a lot of square footage.
Right.
They're very popular, and most of the new homes that you see in subdivisions, I know in the Chicago area, they look just like that with two columns out front and a little roof over the porch, right? So it changes everything,
Correct.
but it's still basically a colonial.
Right. Or you'll have the porch that comes out completely all the way across with 4 pillars across.
Yep.
You'll have the full colonial look that way too. All right. Number 12.
This one I thought was odd. This one's farmhouse style.
Yeah. Is it though?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not. I think what threw me is you see the crosses, upside down crosses in the two gable ends, and and then the window shape just screamed church to me.
Yeah. Oh, it's almost like what's that?
Gothic.
Gothic style. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that was your farmhouse, I don't know, you're a hell of a farmer, better than me. But I just thought it was kind of an odd example for a farmhouse, but I wanted to use it since that's what they went with. But I mean, I think the keys to it though is that, you have the garage on the side there, but you have a full wraparound front porch, or you have a full front porch to sit on.
Yep.
But yeah, I did think that one was kind of an odd one for.
And it's a board and bat, so that's kind of more of a like a barn-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
What are those called? Barnminiums or something like that, or the
Barndominium?
yeah, it's a
Barndominium. Turning
barn.
barns into houses.
Yes,
Yeah, barndominiums or whatever.
yes. Okay, number 13.
And I just plain as townhouses.
Yes, I just slam them together.
Well, and it's funny in the article, it's it pretty much originated in Europe,
Yes,
and it's just multi-family, jam them all together, and everything goes there, and it just found its way into, the cities of the United States, which, starting in New York and working west, obviously.
sure.
Again, more people per square foot.
Yep, and it works really well. So,
But I did like the fact that the next one now, because so this is your townhouse.
yes,
And now notice this looks similar, but this is the row house. I think the big difference is that the townhouse is going to have, say, 3 or 4 units in that vertical space,
uh-huh,
whereas your row house typically is a single family home consisting of 3 to 4 floors.
well, that, and if you notice, the styles change in a row house. So
Most of the time, I mean, I trust me.
so that may be part of it too, whereas the townhouse, it's the style's the same throughout,
Yeah,
but then these are changing, so then that might make the difference between a townhouse and a row house.
probably the least popular, and I don't say that it's a bad thing. I just think maybe because it's not as common in the United States as the next one is your French country.
Number 15.
Yep.
There you go.
But now this one I thought was interesting because yes, with the eyebrows and everything, it does look kind of French country.
Yes.
And you see a lot of this being built in subdivisions in the United States now, larger subdivisions and stuff.
Right. And actually, we're getting ready to start building one. We're going to be breaking ground here this month on a French country or that chateau kind of look. And that's what they were after. So, It's very similar to this kind of look with the different steeper pitched roofs, bunch of different sections to it, and they're also hip roof all the way around.
If I had to knock this particular house for any reason, it'd be the yellow. I just don't. I think
Yeah.
it's off.
Yeah, and you notice
They didn't carry poignant corners through anything,
no, and they didn't,
which is really common on that style.
and they have the belt line in there, but it's very simple. And
Yeah.
they didn't put any, they just changed the color of the stucco here. And this should have coins down both sides of and on these also.
I would think so.
But then this bottom part should be a different like stone look versus the stucco
Right.
up top, or even continuing that stone in a different color above here.
Yes.
So,
So-
okay.
So
here we
those are
go.
your 15 most popular homes in the United States at this time.
Yes. And this looks like it's in a subdivision, so that's probably why it's done that way.
Yes,
Just to keep it competitively priced versus building it
exactly.
the way we would want to do it and put all that extra ginger on there. So there you go. That's number 15. So hopefully you've learned a little bit. You got a couple of different styles. Maybe you liked one of them, maybe you don't. You can leave us a voice voice.
What's your favorite style? Leave some comments below.
That's it. And we'll respond back to you. In the meantime, make sure you hit that subscribe button, dingle on the bell, and we'll catch you next time right here on,
Mighty House.
there you go. But change it up a little bit.
Yeah,
Square
threw me
level
off.
every time?
It threw me off.